everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Courtney. Today I will be sharing the 5 pieces of essential DIY home decor that you can make for every season and get your house looking great. Thank you to Cricut for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into it. Alright, so you are going to be seeing me use my Cricut machine today. If you're not familiar with the Cricut, it is a smart machine that will cut tons of different types of materials. You're going to see me use several different types of materials in today's video, and it also has a great software program called Design Space where you can get tons of images and fonts, and you'll see me grabbing some of those for my projects as well. I started with this wooden blank that came from Walmart, and I stained the outside with dark walnut stain, and then I painted the backside of the sign with some white paint. For the image that I wanted to put on my sign, I opened up Design Space and searched for bunny heads. There were tons to choose from. I narrowed it down. And then I also wanted to make some 3D glasses that I am going to end up attaching to my sign. So I picked out a couple of those. Now, when it comes to making signs, what I like to do is I first get the shape of the sign. So since I'm using that square sign, it was 10 and 3/4 inches by 10 and 3/4 inches. So first I draw out a sign, and then I can take my images and place them over the sign to make sure that my design will fit. Now for the rabbit head, I'm just going to use permanent vinyl, but for the glasses, like I said, I wanted them to be 3D, so I decided to use 1.5mm chipboard. And to work with chipboard, you do have to make a few changes. You do have to insert a knife blade, which is super easy to swap out. You have to push all of the little white runner rings all the way over to the right. And then your chipboard, you need to make sure you attach it to a strong grip mat and that you tape it down with painter's tape all along the edges. Once the glasses were all cut out, I grabbed some pink paint and painted those with that. This was the color Cotton Candy by Folk Art. And then I weeded out my rabbit and I got it attached to my sign. I took some hot glue and glued down the glasses, and then this is where my debate began. I did like how it looked, but the flowers, I felt like there just needed to be color up there. So my original plan was to actually go back in and cut the little pieces of vinyl where the flowers and the leaves, cut those out and then make some felt flowers. So I messed around with that for a little bit and I wasn't feeling the vibe of the felt flowers, so I just grabbed some florals and I attached florals and some greenery with hot glue to my sign. The next decor piece that you can change out with the seasons is going to be a tier tray item, or you can put it on a bookshelf or even a coffee table tray. I wanted to make some wooden beaded carrots, and to do so I needed a total of 8 beads for each carrot. There is a pattern to the beads as far as kind of size wise, but again, you could use any size beads you want as long as you kind of follow this general pattern to get the carrot shape. So I started with 2 of the 16mm beads, then I went to 2 14mm beads, 2 12mm beads, a 10mm, and then an 8mm bead. I put them on a wire, and then to assemble them, I snipped the wires, and on one end, I took some pliers and I folded it over, put a ton of hot glue, slid the bottom bead down, and then proceeded to put hot glue on the wire before I slid the bead over that hot glue, and did that till I got to the top of the carrot. Once all my carrots were assembled, I painted them all with Folk Art paint in the color Monarch. To To add my stems to the carrots, I took my heat gun and I softened the hot glue that was inside there because I had filled it up with hot glue. Got it soft, and once it was soft enough, I just took some greenery that I had and shoved it in right into the top hole of that bead. I wanted to make some chipboard tags for my little carrot bunches, and so I jumped on Design Space, picked a couple different tags shape-wise that I kind of liked, and then I also did some labels for the tags, and I did Fresh Carrots and Peter's Carrot Co. so that I could cut those in vinyl, and I sent them over to Cricut, and then I started to assemble those together. Last step here was to grab my carrots and some raffia. I tied the raffia around the carrots, attached my tag, and they were ready to go. For my first throw pillow, I wanted to work with some infusible ink. I'm working with 3 different colors. I love infusible ink because you iron it on and the colors end up being so vibrant, and the projects end up being machine washable, which is awesome. Now it's time to get ready to press these down onto my pillow cover. I've made the Cricut heat guide as an app on my phone. I showed how to do that in a tutorial on my Instagram Reels as well as TikTok. Those are linked down below if you want to see how you can get this on your phone. But it's really nice because you just type in the material, you type in your base material, which easy press you have, and it'll tell you what to do. It gives you all the directions. So I know I need to set my machine to 360 degrees for 120 seconds. Before I set the rabbits down, the pillow cover was kind of creased, so I did go ahead and press that on both sides. I took a piece of parchment paper and set it inside of my pillowcase to keep the ink from bleeding through, and then I set my design down and used one of the protective sheets that comes with the infusible ink over my design, and then I went ahead and pressed it following the directions that Cricut gave me. Now, I realized I could have left my cover just like that, but I did want to add some bushy tails. So I took some white yarn and made some pom-poms. I did 40 wraparounds on 2 of my fingers, tied them off, and then just took a yarn needle and basically just thread it through where their tails are and tied it off on the inside of the pillowcase. For the second pillow, I'm using iron-on, and the big thing you need to remember about that is to toggle on that mirror image and then cut it with the shiny side down on your mat. So I did that in some nice navy iron-on vinyl, and from there I did the same thing. I plugged in that into my heat guide. It told me what I needed to press it as. I pressed my pillowcase to kind of warm it up, set my iron-on down, put a piece of parchment paper over the top, pressed it, and it was good to go. The fourth decor item that you can use is going to be some type of greenery or floral display. I'm going to be using 2 terracotta pots for this. And I'm going to start I painted them white. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you guys know that I have confessed I am a serial plant killer. I can't keep plants alive. Succulents, cactus, air plants, nothing stays alive at my house. It doesn't matter. So there's a little irony to these, but you'll get the general idea. I wanted to keep this just super simple, so the pots got painted white, and I simply cut out two things on my Cricut, two little sayings that I came up with. One is, please don't die, and the other one was, staying alive. And I attached those to my pots, added some foam, the florals, and of course, again, I'm using fakes here because why even put a plant through that torture at my house? I'm just not going to. Add a little moss, and then I just finished it off with a little bit of burlap embellishment that I got from Dollar Tree, and I hot glued it on there, and voila, I've got myself a little plant that I can display anywhere, and well, these won't die, so that works great for me. And the fifth piece of DIY decor that you can make for every season is going to be some type of garland. I wanted to make a fun garland and decided to use cardstock to make a carrot and beaded garland. And to do so, I need to make 6 carrots. So each carrot is going to need 5 pieces of cardstock. You're going to need 2 pieces of orange cardstock, and your orange cardstock is going to be cut to 8 inches long by 3/4 of an inch wide. Then you're going to need 2 pieces of green cardstock that are cut to 4 inches long and 1/2 an inch wide. And then you're also going to need 1 more piece of green cardstock, but this one is 4.5 inches long, cut by 1/2 an inch wide. Now for the green pieces, I started by taking the 4.5 inch long green piece, and I went about 1/2 an inch from one end of it, marked it with the pencil, and then I folded over the piece of cardstock and I hole punched where I made that mark. From there, I started to just hot glue the ends of these. So essentially you're making kind of like little teardrop shaped loops. So I hot glued all those, and what we're trying to do is have the long piece, the 4.5 inch piece in the middle, and then the 2 4-inch ones on the sides, kind of making it look like that. And so I just took the pieces that I'd already done, I folded it up, lined it up with the holes, punched them out again, hot glued, and I just proceeded to do that until I made all of these little 3 bundles of cardstock. The next step was to attach the orange pieces to these greens. You're going to need 2 for each one. So just take your green piece, put some hot glue at the base of it, and take your orange piece and hot glue it on to the base, kind of making it to where the ends line up and go in the same direction, if that makes sense. So you can kind of see the green bundle go in the direction as well as the orange strip going in that direction, and then flip it over and do the same for the other side, just making sure that they're all lined up on that one end. Once the orange pieces were tacked down, I grabbed them and pulled them down and then just hot glued the tip of these together. To finish this off, I kind of gave them a little bit of a squeeze so they weren't looking so much as like hearts and a little more like carrots. I grabbed some twine and I just put a bead on it, then a carrot, then a bead, then a carrot, and then that's it. This garland is ready to be hung up. And there you have it, the 5 pieces of home decor that you can make for every season and have your house nice and decorated. Let me know down below which one of these projects was your favorite. Also let me know, what are your staple pieces that you put out for every season? Do you always put out a tiered tray? Do you always hang up a sign? Do you always do garland? I would love to know what your staples, your essentials are. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Here are some more videos you might enjoy, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.